The next presentation we're moving on to Daniel Salliss. Hi, Daniel, who is a research associate at the University of East Anglia, going to be talking about optimising landscape scale conservation intervention through biodiversity auditing. So, Daniel, over to you. Thank you very much.
Lovely, thank you very much. Thank you to NBN for giving me the opportunity to talk to you today. So I'm part of a team at UEA who are working to use biological data to enhance landscape scale conservation through biodiversity auditing. As we're all aware, UK conservation sort of overall has not been able to stop the widespread declines of biodiversity that we're seeing. But we have this real opportunity in the new Environment Act to sort of galvanise and try and turn the tide through the local nature recovery strategy. However, while sort of wording of the LNRS sort of talks about the use of species data, we're a bit worried that it doesn't talk specifically about how it will be used, and we're worried that there'll be too much of a focus on using coarse habitat classes. So which won't take fully into account the sort of variations that we see within habitats and sort of the regional differences. One habitat class you may see, between different parts of the UK. Take for instance, work in Breckland has seen that these two pictures here show the same habitat class, lowland, heathland, but managed in one way on the left, you can get sort of 60 plus priority species, but managed slightly differently, the same habitat class, you could get almost 4 times as many priority species. So a solution is finding out what species are there in a region and their on-the-ground habitat requirements. So just to reiterate, we think that the LNRS would really benefit from information on this regional species pool, which species to prioritise, and their on-the-ground management requirements, and use this evidence to form guidance for land managers. So biodiversity auditing is essentially taking biological data, species records, their ecological requirements, and on-the-ground practitioner expertise, and working out what's realistic. And turning this into landscape scale management guidance. And the way we do this is identify these groups of species which share resources, so we can really target the correct management where it works and where it will have the most effect. And the best thing is that all this data is already out there through the amazing biological data network in the UK. And what we've seen in previous audits is that having this evidence and presenting it and to landholders, it really gives them the confidence to then go out and implement the guidance. So in the Breckland, they formed a network of farmers who were implementing one type of disturbance prescription. It also incorporated a connectivity network of open areas through a forest landscape to connect to these farms. And on top of that, there was a HLS agreement on this expansive grassland to sort of add on to it. And it just goes to show that when you present evidence and use this biological data and show land managers where the species are and what they really need, you can sort of get these landscape scale conservation initiatives off the ground. So we're now doing work on a biodiversity audit of the Norfolk coast, with the aim of challenging current thinking on how we're managing our habitats on the coast, inform the on-the-ground conservation work, and also inform sea level rise response in the face of climate change. Again, this is in partnership and having land managers as part of the process from the start. We're engaging with them in workshops and bringing to them our results as we find them out. So when it gets to that stage of presenting guidance to them, they'll be acquainted with everything and they'll be keen to implement it. Of course, this sort of work is just not possible without the amazing network of biological data that we've got in the UK. We have to say thank you to organisations and individuals who have sent us data directly, and thank you to all the organisations and individuals that submit data through NBN and recording schemes and whatnot. It's absolutely amazing. So with the data that we've got for our study area in the Norfolk coast, we've had over 1 million records in, containing almost 11,000 species. And extremely importantly, we've had local experts and recorders validate our species lists. And if we take a look at these species and break them down into different taxonomic groups, we see that sort of the groups that historically that conservation has focused on, habitats and invertebrates, make up a really small proportion of our species. And it's really important that we capture the needs of these plants and vertebrates because they make up such a vast proportion of the species we find. And this is a result from one of the results looking at grazing marsh. And in the Norfolk coast, historically, HLS agreements are focused on sort of short, bare ground to try and provide habitat for bird species such as lapwing, which gives you a host of priority species and nationally irreplaceable species. But we can enhance the landscape scale biodiversity by incorporating other types of habitat that add extra priority species. And what's great is that when we've spoken to land managers about this, they're keen to incorporate this, and they're keen to find out how this can be incorporated into sort of agri-environment schemes.
Last couple of minutes, please, Daniel.
Cheers, thank you. An additional benefit of biodiversity auditing is that it looks at the sort of co-benefits and trade-offs between ecosystem services. You might be looking to create some sort of salt marsh habitat on your land for carbon accumulation, and by knowing what species are there and what they need, you can manage your land slightly differently and stack on biodiversity benefits, increase the biodiversity there. And additionally, you may have some difficult decisions to make in the face of climate change, perhaps with flooding. And although those decisions will be difficult, whatever information you have, by doing biodiversity auditing, you can weigh up what you can do, and your decisions will be better informed. So just to summarize, it's using biological data in systematic analysis to enhance on-the-ground conservation management. And we're sort of at a turning point, being post-Brexit, having a new Environment Act coming in, new agri-environment schemes. So we really need to get this on-the-ground conservation management right, and get the management that species that are there regionally really need. So thank you again for letting me talk, and thank you very much again to all our funders and data providers, because it's absolutely essential that they've done that. So thank you.
Thank you, Daniel. Very interesting. Probably got time for one question. Can't see one coming through. I have have you found difference in engagement when you've gone out with the idea of doing the audits and the different places you've done them? Is there a marked difference the way you receive to do that?
So I've personally only been working on the Coastal Audit, but the key thing is that we've engaged with stakeholders and land managers from the start, so they know that we're going to be doing this sort of work, and we've involved them at every step in the process. A lot of the land managers that this work involves are funding the work as well, and in general, everyone is very keen to sort of see what the results are, and most importantly, we sort of get feedback from them on what actually is possible to do, because we could come to them with a possible prescription and say, this would be great, and you'd get, and you'd increase your biodiversity. But if they turn around and say, look, this is just not possible, then it's a no-goer. So yeah, their feedback is very key.
Thank you. No, interesting. And as you pitch it quite rightly against the backdrop of the Environmental Act and the need for this sort of information, very important. It's important work. Thank you for that.
Thank you very much.